Okay. Let us, first of all, I should tell you about myself. I am Dhananjay Singh, okay? And I have to begin history with you. Okay. For BPSC mains examination, right? And I hope that all of you are going to appear in mains examination, okay? So let us put our attention on some basic elements to ensure your success in BPSC examination. Because I think that there are some elements behind every examination which you are supposed to go through, okay, before going ahead, okay. And this is first syllabus of BPSC, okay. Number one is syllabus of BPSC. Second is the nature of question. And third is how to approach this syllabus. How to approach this syllabus. And finally, the art of writing. The art of writing means your writing skill. Okay? These are the certain basic elements, okay, which can give you a strong foundation, okay. You must have seen the syllabus of BPSC, I am sure, okay. I have classified the whole syllabus on the basis of the question of BPSC into certain categories, okay. So let us see one by one. First is some political events. Some political events. Like the revolt of 1857. Revolt of 1857. A landmark event in the history of India. Second, the Gandhian movements. The Gandhian movements. For example, in 1920, NCM, Non-Cooperation Movement. In 1930, CDM, Civil Disobedience Movement. And third, the Quit India Movement. India Movement of 1942. Means we have two important events of modern India in the syllabus of BPSC. First is revolt of 1857 and then Gandhian movements. From this area, you can find two questions. One is based on what was the reason behind the emergence of the revolt of 1857? And second might be, how did this event influence Bihar? It means it has obvious that we have to capture both as a general as a Bihar, while making a journey through the whole events that took place during the revolt of 1857. Correct? Second is certain revolts, uprising led by the peasants and the tribals in Bihar. Okay. Means tribal revolt, especially Mundas and Santhalis. Santhal. Okay. During 1855 and 56. Okay. And second was led by Birsa Munda. Okay. Birsa Munda during 1899 and 1900. Two revolts in the mid of 19th century. It was the first revolt which shook the whole foundation of British Empire. First time. Even before this revolt, we have many examples of revolts against British Empire. But first time British Empire witnessed organized revolt on the part of Santhalis in Bihar. And so, two topics, Mundas and Birsa and Santhal becomes important for your examination. Right. Kol revolt, Oraon revolt, Ahom revolt. There are many revolts. But regarding Bihar, only two are important. One is Santhalis and second is Mundas. Right? Number 3. Thank you. And third is the development of art and culture. Art and culture. Okay. In India and Bihar also. Bihar also. Okay. For example, number 1, the Mauryan art. The Mauryan art. That includes Raj Prasad of the Mauryan emperors, Ashoka and Chandragupta Maurya. And second, Ashoka pillars. Number 3, stupas like Bharhut and Sanchi. And third was some rock cut architecture. Rock cut architecture. That is also called the cave temple. The cave temple, Barabaran Nagarjuni. That became a source of inspiration for the Pallava art in course of time. I mean Dravid art. Okay. Second is the Pala art. Pala, a Rajput ruler of Bihar and Bengal regions, Devpal Dharmpal, who laid the foundation of Vikramshila, okay, Udantapuri and Sompuri, like institutions in course of time. Is it okay? Number 3, the Patna art that give us a glimpse of both the colonial indigenous features of India, colonial as well as indigenous. Okay. And third is visible on the Rashtrapati Bhavan, Delhi, on the wall of Rashtrapati Bhavan, Delhi. That is Madhubani art. ठीक है ना? Keep on writing, my dear. Madhubani art. Okay. Means we have to touch only 4 areas for BPSC. It could be more than this, but for your examination, you are supposed to confine yourself only on 4 areas to ensure your success, not for your knowledge. Okay. Next. The expansion of English education. English education in India as well as Bihar. As well as Bihar. It's okay? What I mean to say, March 1835, the beginning of education, which was designed to create a man of black color, but having taste in English. That is known as Macaulay education in India. Okay, ठीक है? This was the second category of your syllabus. Okay, art and culture. Third category. Number 4th, thought of some prominent makers of India, like Gurudev Tagore. Next, M.K. Gandhi. Pandit Nehru, along with the thoughts of Lohia. Okay. Lohia, Ram Manohar Lohia, socialist, the member behind the creation of Congress Socialist Party in 1934. Okay. Along with JP. Correct? It means we have to capture the imagination, anticipation, thoughts of all the 5 legends of modern India. Okay? Tagore, M.K. Gandhi, Pandit Nehru, Lohia, and JP. Okay? Then after, some topics we may take, like the development of peasants' movements in Bihar. Okay. Development of peasant movements in Bihar. Especially Satyagraha, Champaran Satyagraha, of 1917. Okay. And second, Kisan Sabha. A glimpse for upcoming Kisan Sabha, All India Kisan Sabha, 1936. India. First Bihar and then India. The man was same. And he was exactly. Swami Sahajanand. Sahajanand, the main brain behind the rising of Kisan Sabha in Bihar, in course of time, India also. Okay. So these are the basic, features of your syllabus. Not more than this, you are supposed to make effort. Try to capture, control this syllabus, and then, as you wish, you can take also some parts of, history, but these are necessary, inevitable, mandatory for you. Okay. Now, second is the nature of question of BPSC. Okay. Nature of the question. Of BPSC. I have seen on the basis of past few years that in BPSC, they have asked two type of questions in BPSC. One is long question. And second is some short question. Okay? Right. In GS first paper, okay, out of total 300 marks, numbers, history covers around 114 numbers, marks. Okay. And this 114 could be divided among the three questions. Okay. Each question carry 38 number. Okay? And thereby it becomes 114 question out of 300 questions. Right? Now, the nature of question are very simple. Some are direct, no ideology at all, but some are peculiar also. For example, in mains examination of 65 BPSC, a question based on Champaran Satyagraha has been given by BPSC. And this is, Champaran Satyagraha is a watershed in the history of Indian freedom struggle. Means how it was a watershed, landmark event in Indian struggle for independence. Means some questions seems to be like UPSC, and most of them are very simple, very well defined and direct. What is needed? You must have just control over some basic facts to write all those questions based on simple idea. Okay. But in some question you are supposed to have some ideology also. Some ideology also. Example. Let us take an example. The Champaran Satyagraha led to change the dimension of peasant movements in India. In India. Comment. This is not simple question. In this question, you have to narrate how did this movement lead to change the whole tone and texture of peasant movements in India. Can you tell something about this question? Anyone? Yes? Anyone? In this question, what is needed? You have to compare with this movement and the other movements of 19th century. 19th century. Then only you can say, without any doubt, that it was momentous to bring about the change in the whole nature of pigeon movements. Without touching the contours of the movements of 19th century, how can you say? One para should be devoted for the movements of 19th century. Then only you can say that this was momentous movements, okay, which brought about change in the nature of pigeon movements. Example. In 1859 and 60, Indigo Revolt. Indigo Revolt. Bengal. ठीक है? In 1873, Pavana Revolt. Pavana, again Bengal. In 1875, Deccan Revolt. Pune and Ahmednagar, Maharashtra, है ना? Three revolts took place during 19th century. But none of them were against British Empire. None of them. They never questioned the right of British Empire to take revenue from them. It was against moneylenders, zamindars, against those instruments used by the British Empire to exploit the Indian peasants, not against British Empire itself. In this revolt, peasant said, we are Rayat of Maharani Victoria. It means we are not against Victoria, against Zamindars. Right. It shows India was not a nation in those times. Rather, it was a geographical expression, It was a geographical expression, not a nation at all. Right. All these revolts were localized. They were localized, scattered. Okay. And they never questioned the legitimacy of British Empire to take revenue from them without doing anything in terms of irrigation, etc., etc. It means they had no sense of nationalism. They had no sense of this definition, what is their interest and what is British interest. They had no imagination about the distinction between the means and the end. We are the means because we are the colony, you are the master, you are the end. And so, unlike pigeons, unlike tribals, British Empire remained moderate towards pigeons, not suppressive, not repressive, as they repressed Santhali's and Virsa. समझिए बात को. In 1860, British government set up Indigo Commission to analyze their problems, to eradicate their grievances. Because government was more cautious regarding pigeons, because pigeons never questioned the right of British Empire to collect taxes from them. On the other hand, tribals, they challenged the British Empire, and that's why they were ruthlessly suppressed by the British Empire. First time, a man from Bihar, Rajkumar Shukla, he followed Gandhi, requested him to visit Bihar. Okay. And Gandhi was told by his master, Gokhale, to see India by your own eyes, Gandhi went to Champaran. He collected information individually from the peasants. And then Champaran became the first place for the manifestation of Gandhian Satyagraha in India. And first time this Satyagraha became the social base of Indian National Congress. Indian National Congress. First time. Champaran, then Kheda, Bardoli were not away from Congress. They became a part and parcel of movements led by Gandhiji, led by Indian National Congress. Before this revolt, we have example. R.C. Dutt, Ranade, they took part in this revolt, but they failed to bring about pigeons within the ambit of Indian national movement, as did Gandhiji. And this was the basic difference between the pigeons revolt of 19th century and the 20th century. And it becomes watershed, momentous, because it was the first event which brought pigeons closer to Congress, led Indian national movement. समझ गए? So without touching the basic difference of two revolts of 2 centuries, you can't say it was instrumental to change the whole nature of pigeon revolt in India. At least one para should be focused on this comparison between the two movements. समझ गए? Without making comparison, your answer would be obviously incomplete, according to my experience. Right or wrong? ठीक है? So, the question of history in BPSC are both basic, I mean factual, general, and some are ideological. And you are supposed to equally focus both of them, basic and ideological, both. Both should be equally focused. Okay? This is beginning today, and so I won't like to go deeper today. My whole effort is to just display before you the basic syllabus of UPSC and some question taken from the previous examination. Okay. I won't like to discuss anything today. Okay. So, some questions are based on short notes. Like, once they have given a question, national movement and Rajendra Prasad. Similarly, Pandit Nehru and the idea of secularism. Okay. And what is needed? We have to just have a basic insight about the whole syllabus. And once we possess the whole insight about the syllabus, we can write both type of questions, whether it is long and short. It's okay? Now, third element is how to approach syllabus of BPSC. Okay. How to approach the syllabus of BPSC Mains. As I told you, the first event is revolt of 1857, plus its impact on Bihar. In this topic, first of all, we have to go through the basic reason behind the emergence of this revolt. Okay. And this could be the political region. This could be administrative. This could be military region. This could be social, religious, as well as cultural. Okay. It means it was not a Sepoy mutiny, it was said by the Sile. It was more than Sepoy mutiny. Though it was led by Sepoy, soldier of British Empire, but very soon it became civil uprising once it began to be led by Bahadur Shah Zafar. So in this topic, first of all, we have to see, without touching the background of this revolt, I mean political, administrative, military, social, economic, we cannot say what it was. But we can say without doubt it was more than Sepoy mutiny. It was the first revolt on the part of Indian society against British Empire, which laid the whole foundation of British Empire, okay, in the condition of turmoil. Right. If you go through this chapter, I mean topic, since June 1757, the Battle of Plassey, led by Lord Clive in Bengal, gradually British Empire merged Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, then Mysore, then Maharashtra, Maratha, then Karnataka, then Punjab, and thereby the whole India came within the British Empire. It was the first region. It was the first region because the whole area was being subjugated by the British company in the name of some pretext. Sometimes subsidiary alliance, sometimes ring of fence, and sometimes by the way of doctrine of lapse, and sometimes by allegation of misgovernance, as they did in Awadh. Then after, they replaced all the Indian indigenous system of administration, like Panchayati system, and planted a system that was racial, exploitative, colonial, insensitive, like Cornwallis. Okay. And then after, they also replaced Panchayati system and brought about rule of law that was beyond the understanding of Indian people. So the first seed of this revolt was inherent in the political, administrative, and military policy of British Empire. And then after, we have to see their economic policies. Economic policy, like land revenue system, decline of handicraft industry, railway, drain of wealth, all are instrumental to bring about India on the brink of starvation, famines, frequency of famines, poverty. In 18th century, the share of India in the whole global economy was 27%. It was said by Shashi Tharoor in his book. Once British left India, it became only 3%. It became only 3%. So it was not a revolt to get some rights, privileges, as it was said by the British administrator and their scholars. It was against subjugation. It was against exploitation. It was against destruction of India by the British Empire. It was a logical culmination of all those events which got momentum since June 1757, the Battle of Plassey. My dear, in May 1857, the gap of 100 years. So it was a result of indignation of the last 100 years. The last 100 years, which totally destroyed the whole fabric of India. So in this topic, we have to capture first the causes of this revolt. Then after, we have to see why did this revolt fail to get a result. Its failure. Why? In brief, I can say today, not tomorrow, India was not a nation, rather it was geographical expression. And that's why it was inevitable that we have to get debacle in the hand of the British Empire. Debacle of this revolt was inevitable because you are not a nation. You are a feudalized society and fighting against civilization. Civilization which had already witnessed Renaissance, Reformation, Enlightenment, French Revolution, American Revolution. So your debacle, your defeat was inevitable. Because in those times, you were not a nation. America was a nation. America was a nation. And that's why American Revolution was a clash of two civilizations. And both were modern. They conquered, they owned, but you got defeat because you are not a nation. In brief, I can tell. Right? India was not a nation, and that's why this defeat was 100% inevitable. A major part of India was away from this revolt. You had no well-defined programs, working method, leadership, objectives. Only your focus was to destroy the British Empire, and you did not have any idea what should be a new India. What should be a new India? You have no idea about a new India. So, along with the causes, we have to also touch the reason behind the failure of this revolt. Then, the result of this revolt. Though this revolt failed, but it became a source of inspiration for the growing idea of nationalism. It failed, but it became a milestone in the way of growing Indian nationalism, which got culmination in December 1885, Indian National Congress. Right. And it had also many results. Company came to end. Mughal Empire came to end. Okay. And Governor General of India became Viceroy of India. India witnessed manifold changes after the revolt of 1857. But today, I won't like to go deeper. I should leave something for next day. Okay. Then, we have to also discuss nature of this revolt. It was an issue of intellectual debate among the scholars. Some says it was a sepoy mutiny. Some says it was a clash of civilization and barbarism. Some said it seems to be a conspiracy of Hindu and Muslim against British Empire. Some said it seems to be a clash of Oriental and Occidental. But one man was in England and he was a realist. This man was Disraeli, who said no. This is not certainly sepoy mutiny. England was facing a national revolt. Only this man underlined the real nature of revolt. In India also, many scholars wrote on the nature of this revolt. Majumdar, S.N. Sen, Savarkar, Pandit Nehru. But I have some historian like Stanley Ulpert. Stanley Ulpert, he is American historian. Stanley Ulpert. He said, very nice, this revolt was more than sepoy mutiny, but much less than a war of independence. It was said by American historian Stanley Ulpert. It was much more than sepoy mutiny, much less than a war of independence. It means it was within the two. It was in between the two. More than sepoy mutiny and less than a war of independence. And we have to unfold what it was. What it was. If it was more than sepoy mutiny, less than a war of independence, then what it was? You have to write your answer by judging both. How it seems to be more than sepoy mutiny and how it seems to be less than a war of independence, and then should be your conclusion. समझ गए? Right? So in this topic, we have to capture region, its failure, its nature, its result, and then its deep impact in Bihar, led by Babu Kunwar Singh. It means from this topic, we can get two questions. One is general regarding this revolt, and one is from Bihar, Babu Kunwar Singh. And once we go through this topic, my whole focus should be to confine on both as a general and then as a especially in Bihar. Is it correct? Next is the Gandhian movement. Sorry. The Gandhian movement. In this topic, first of all, we have to capture the background of non-cooperation movement, okay, the background of civil disobedience movement, and the Quit India movement. First of all, we have to study about the basic background of all the three Gandhian movements. Means the regions, number one, their nature. Number 2, their programs. Number 3, working methods. Number 4, leadership. Number 5, social base. Number 6, and then expansion of these movements across the whole country. And then its impact. Its impact in India as well as in Bihar. Okay? ठीक है? Once we go through its expansion, we have to especially focus on Bihar. Okay? It means, first of all, we have to illuminate the basic backgrounds like this, and then we have to give a special focus on Bihar also, along with the nationalist movement. Okay? About all the 3 movements led by Gandhi ji. ठीक है ना? Similarly, the topics like Santhal revolt and the Munda revolt. In this topic, we have to focus, number 1, the region of this revolt. Region means its area. Then the causes of this revolt. Then their working method. Their programs. Their social base. Their leadership. Their nature. And finally, the British policies towards the tribal revolt. Okay? The British policies toward the tribal revolts, like the Munda and Birsa. Okay? It means in this topic we have to cover, okay, the whole ideas about how this revolt came to emerge, okay, and how did this revolt leave impact on the tribal society, on the Indian society, and how did British government take this revolt, right? Similarly, I told you about the peasant movement of Champaran, and development of peasant movements. In this topic, the Champaran peasant movements, we have to study about Tinkatia system, in which British Empire was compelling peasants to cultivate at least 3 katha of every bigha indigo for them. It was totally unjust, defective system, and that's why they became against British Empire, and they got support of Gandhi to eradicate their grievances, and they got success also. Similarly, like in Uttar Pradesh, Awadh Kisan Sabha, N.G. Ranga, Andhra Pradesh, Karyanand Swami, Swami Sahajanand, like leaders of Bihar, they also started organizing peasants of Bihar on their own class against Zamindars and the British Empire. Okay. So we have to also study about how did pigeon movements get momentum in Bihar. Okay. Led by local leaders of Bihar. It's okay. ठीक है. The topic like art and culture. Art and culture. In this topic, we have to not only study about the development of art only, but also focus the basic background behind the creation of these artistic traditions. For example, first time it was the Mauryan emperor who laid the foundation of an institutional art in India. During 4th century BC. Okay. I mean 323 BC to 185 BC. Time of Mauryan Empire. In this empire, Chandragupta Maurya, number 1. Number 2, Ashoka. Number 3, Dasarath. 3 Mauryan emperors played momentous role in the creation of this Mauryan art. What I mean to say, you are not only supposed to write about the art, but you are equally supposed to write the background of that art. Because art is a mirror of society. Art is a mirror of society. Like Panchayatan system, you know what is Panchayatan system? Yes? Yes. This is temple of main god. And around him, there were small temples of lesser god. That shows the impact of feudal system on temple architecture. Like Maharaja Dhiraj means the king. Maharajas, these are the god. समझ गए? What I mean to say, without touching the basic background, you cannot create the picture of that art, the perception of that art in real sense. You have to link your art with that particular economic condition, social condition, and then write about the art. Example, Ashoka pillars. That is also known as Dhamma Astambha. Pillar of Dhamma. In those times, Ashoka was not having means of communication like Dalhousie. In those times. And he was emperor. He had a very extensive empire, having the confluence of many cultures of India. Diversity was there. And he was desiring to create coexistence, mutual dependence, give and take among his subjects. It was not possible for him because he lacked the means of communication. Ashoka decided to create pillars bearing his inscription about the subjects. And then he became the first king who conveyed himself to his subject by the way of pillar. By the way of pillar. All subjects are my child. It was said by Ashoka. And it was revealed by his pillar. It was revealed by his rock inscription written on the pillar. On the pillar, rock pillar. What I mean to say? Before writing any question on art, the first para should be on that particular setup, like sound economy, political stability, keen interest, subject, and then all these factors jointly laid the foundation of Mauryan art. Without having sound economy, you are not supposed to create temples like Chola temples. Imagine. In South India, Chola, they had a strong economic support. And that's why their Biman became 100 feet in height. 100 feet. But after them, the Pandey ruler, they had no strong economic support. And that's why their temple became smaller in nature. Smaller. Example number 2. Before 1316 before 1296 to 1316, I mean the time of Alauddin Khilji, we have example like some mosque, Adhai Din Ka Jhopda, Quwwatul Islam, Qutub Minar. But none of those creations reveal a truly Islamic architecture that is known as Arcuate system. Arcuate system. Why? Because it was the state of formation against Mongols, against Hindu rebels. Okay. Once Alauddin Khilji became a strong, Sultan of Delhi Sultanate, then only it became possible for Sultan of Delhi to create Alai Darwaja that became a gem in Islamic treasure of India. In Islamic treasure of India. Alai Darwaja is called a gem, a jewel in the treasure of Islamic architecture in India. Because first time this building just revealed arc, dome, as it was experienced by the classical Islamic architect. Why? Because in those times, Sultans of Delhi before Alauddin Khilji were not having sound economy, sound political system, and that's why they did not focus themselves to create landmark architecture in their period. My dear, so it is necessary to touch first background and then write about the art and culture. Because you are not only collector of only contents, you are going to be a SDM. And that's why your insight should be wide. Your insight should be wide. To peep the whole art through the lens of those economy, society, culture, ideology of king, etc., etc. Example number 3. In Mughals, Aurangzeb was the emperor. He had everything. Artist also. Marble also. Economy also. A strong political stability also. But he had no keen interest. He had no keen interest. Result, Mughal Empire started what? Witnessing a degeneration in the glorious tradition of Akbar's architecture, painting, literature, etc., etc. I know that there are some discipline of word limits. Still, you have to maintain the balance of both background and the creation, both. समझ गए? तभी नंबर मिलेगा, ऐसा नहीं नंबर मिलेगा. ये लिखना बहुत आसान होता है. ये बनाया, वो बनाया, क्यों बनाया? पागल थोड़े तक बना दिया. कुछ तो होगा उसके पीछे रीजन. ठीक है? Right. Now, how can I help you? My whole effort would be centralized on number one. To give you insight about the basic facts. The basic facts. And that would be relevant. Relevant. That would be important. I mean essential. First. Because without facts, how can you can create a story? I said Ashoka pillar were made of a single piece of stone. I said from Chunar. Generally, it was having the weight of 50 tons. Okay, weight 50 tons. And its length was from 40 to 45 feet. These are facts. These are facts. I said, we have a Ashoka pillar from Sarnath. Having some lines, it is facts. So without having the basic facts, you cannot create a story. Your whole answer is based on the flow of facts, and that should be first relevant, not unnecessary, not undesirable. That should be basic. That should be instrumental to help you to bring the whole story. Right? First effort of mine would be to give you the relevant facts. Right? Second would be to give you the basic concept, the basic perception, the basic idea behind development of all events. Behind the development of all events. Without this basic ideology, there is no significance of this fact. Facts are empowered by the ideology. And so you must have some ideas also for every facts. My dear, listen me attentively. The second is to have insight about the basic ideas. Why it is happening. Why it is so. Why not it is so. You must have some ideas about the basic, events. Okay, whatever I have to teach in this class. Right. Example. I said Ashoka is supposed to be known for the creation of 84,000 stupas. It was said by historian. Ashoka is supposed to create 84,000 stupas. Among them, we have, fortunately, not unfortunately, because still we have two. Right? Sanchi and Bharaut. Ashoka is also supposed to create many pillars of stone across the whole country. Pillars. Right? Along with a royal mansion a royal palace. Okay. That was said by Fayan in course of time. Fayan, the Chinese traveler in India. Now, these are facts. What is idea? In 261 BC, a battle took place in Orissa. That is known as Kalinga War. Kalinga War. This battle led to shake the whole heart of Ashoka. And since then, Dhamaghosh replaced Bheri Ghosh. Replaced Bheri Ghosh. Ashoka became the champion of Buddhism in India, along with a mighty Mauryan emperor, both. And then after Ashoka designed his whole policies in the light of Buddhism. In the light of Buddhism. But it was not his state policy as it was said by some historian. Ashoka Dhamma was not a state religion. It was a Dina Ilahi. It was a Tawhid-e Ilahi. It was a Sulh-e Kul policy of Akbar to bring all the people on the single platform. Means idealize. Ashoka did all these things not only to propagate Buddhism, but also to disseminate his ideas through the artistic creation. Okay? It means Ashoka pillars were not only a display of his art, it was also an instrument to bring Ashoka across the whole country by his inscription. By his inscription. आप समझ रहे हैं? And this is ideology. Ashoka donated some, kept temples to Ajivak sect. That shows my emperor is not intolerant. Rather, he was egalitarian in nature. Egalitarian. He was Protestant, not Roman Catholic Church. He was John Calvin, Martin Luther. And that's why he, though dissolved himself, merged himself in Buddhism, but he never imposed any discrimination on other convictions. And we have example of Ajivak sect. Okay, and this is idea. This is idea. King was no doubt Buddhist, but he was equally king for all people. Ashoka was Islamic, Akbar was Islamic, but equally he was national monarch of India. He was national monarch of India because no jizya was there. No pilgrim tax was there. Similarly, in ancient India, Ashoka also, just presented himself before his subject without his individual, imposition on his perception on the people. So there must be some ideas, to light, to reflect what is hidden in the facts. Because facts itself does not reveal anything. It is blind. It is blind. Ideas are the eyes of the facts. And without ideas, without facts, ideas has no foundation. Both are complementary to each other. Okay. Number 3 is how to create the main body of your answer by linking both facts and the idea. We have some facts, we have some ideas, and then we have to just use that facts and ideas to generate some stories. It means, my dear, my whole effort would be to give you three things. One is basic facts. Number two, ideas behind those facts. And number three, a skill to develop the linkage of both facts and the ideas. ठीक है? Correct? And last, how to write your answer. How to write your answer. Because whatever you know, that is not important. In 3 hours, how you write about those questions before you, that becomes history. That becomes history. है कि नहीं? Okay. Now, let us discuss some question also. Okay. पहले से आप पढ़े होंगे, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है. थोड़ा सा कुछ देखते हैं. The revolt of 1857 was a watershed in the history of modern India. Modern India. Number one question. Number two, the tribal revolts where though localized, but they had the seed of independence rather than getting some concession from the British government. The revolt of 1857 was a watershed in the history of modern India. And second is the tribal revolts were though localized, but they had the seed of independence rather than getting some concession from the British government. Right? So, can you tell me something about how it was a watershed in the history of modern India? Yes? It was the first war of independence, you said. But how can you say? Because R.C. Majumdar, like historian says, no, neither it was first, nor national, and nor a war of independence. Then how can you say? Right or wrong? Your answer should be rational. It is not like that someone refute your answer. It should be rational. I mean, it should be based on some rational facts to support your answer, whatever you're trying to say. Yes. Yes. If it had the idea of, I mean, nationalism, awareness, as you told, then they would have got success. They would have got success. Yes? In course of time. In course of time. Listen, my dear. Watershed. This word is extremely significant. Watershed. It means departure. It means departure. This is 19th century and this is upcoming century. Upcoming century. It was a departure in between 19th century and the upcoming 20th century. The term watershed means first time the British government witnessed a organized revolt of Indian people against British Empire. First time. Before this revolt, we have many examples of revolt led by the tribals, sannyasis, peasants, etc. First time this revolt, though it was not all Indian in terms of participation, expansion. This revolt, though confined to some areas of India, like some parts of MP and some parts of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh and then some parts of Delhi. A major part of India was away from the reach of this revolt. Number one. In this revolt, I should accept that some people were outside the ambit of this revolt. Like some zamindars, some rulers of India. And the most important thing was those people who had ideas, I mean progressive people of India. They also failed to become a part of this revolt against British Empire. Despite all these limitations, it was the first revolt which compelled the whole British Empire to revisit its policy since June 1757. First empire, first revolt. Polity changed, administration changed, company demolished, Mughal Empire abolished. Okay, and the whole policies to abolish sati-like system came to end. Came to end. Okay, that was once started by the Bentinck on the name of Bentham and Mill, that came to end. Because some people also took part in this revolt against this policy of British government to bring about all the changes. They said British Empire had no right to make inroad in Indian system. It was a watershed, okay, because its impact, its creation and its destruction both were momentous. It not only destroyed, it also created. So it became watershed because, number one, the feudal indignation, the feudal, opposition was shattered in this revolt. British Empire was no longer expecting to have opposition of feudal lords of India. Zamindars suppressed. And rest of them were domesticated, tamed. Before this revolt, the British Empire ruled India with the help of Indian people who were the creation of Macaulay education. And after this revolt, they made a reactionary Indian people to rule India against the challenges given by the Indian progressive people who once were away from the revolt in support of British Empire. It was watershed. It was watershed. आप समझ रहे हो? It was watershed. Because we witnessed many departures in the whole fabric of British foundation in India. So it was a watershed. Though we failed, even Majumdar said, despite he was rejecting this as a war of independence told by Savarkar, Majumdar acknowledged whatever might have been the nature of this revolt, in course of time, it became a source of Indian nationalism. It was said by Majumdar, despite rejecting the claim of Savarkar that it was a first war of independence. He also accepted. S.N. Sen also accepted. I don't think that it was a national revolt, but I have no doubt in accepting this idea that without the idea of nationalism, it became a war of independence against British Empire. It was said by Sen. It was said by Sen. Okay. So it became watershed in many contexts. In many contexts. Once we go through the whole story of this revolt, then I should tell you about the many dimensions of this revolt. Right now, just I'm trying to create some ideas about this topic by the way of this question. Okay? Similarly, the tribal revolts were, though, localized. Exactly. But they had this seed of independence. Rather than getting some concession as peasants got in India. As peasants got in India after Indigo Revolt, Pabna Revolt, Deccan Revolt. In 1879, the British government introduced a law that is known as Deccan Agricultural Relief Act. Relief Act. It was introduced by the British Empire to save peasants from the reach of moneylenders. But here case was different. Sidhu and Kanu were not desiring to get any concession on behalf of you. They questioned your right to rule in India. You are foreigner. You are racial. You are imperial, colonial. So, we are not going to permit you to rule India without their consent, without her consent. Okay, and that's why they became fatal, destroying against the British Empire. And so, though they failed to get success, but the idea of independence was reflecting from the resistance of Santhali's revolt. In brief, I should tell you, my dear, that whenever you write any question, it should be simple. It should be to the point. And it should touch the demands of the question. It should be based on certain relevant facts to support your answer. At the same time, your ideas should be transparent, maintaining word limits and time management. And this could be possible only by regular practice, because I think Rome was not built in a single day. So you can't make yourself in a single day. You have to practice regularly to get perfection and thereby enter in the what? The wall of Berlin. दीवार पर, राइट और रॉन्ग? ठीक है. So if any question you want to ask, any confusion you have in your mind, you can share your confusion. Because right now it's not wise for me to discuss any topic in details, as it was told by the management, कि this class would be solely designed to just display the syllabus, how to approach the syllabus, how to question and how to write your answer. So I focused myself on all these elements. If you want to ask any question, then you can tell me. बोलिए. परीक्षा कब हो रहा आप लोग का? क्या है? अभी डेट नहीं है, अभी रिजल्ट भी शायद नहीं आया है. देखिए, इतना जितना मैंने बताया इतना काफी है, मोर देन सफिशिएंट. मैं तो नहीं कर सकता, इसलिए कुछ मोर देन सफिशिएंट होता भी नहीं है. ठीक है, लेकिन आई कैन से विथ कन्विक्शन that on the basis of past few years question, I can say that whatever I told you and I would tell you in future, that is more and more authentic, because this syllabus is not subject to change. There may be some modification in polity, there must be some modification in economy, data changed, science and technology, currents, but here no modification. It is totally permanent settlement of Cornwallis. ठीक है. और सबसे बड़ी बात तो ये है कि unlike UPSC, even question are designed and decided, pre-decided. We have only Mauryan art 1, Pala art number 3, Madhubani and Patna. And out of 4, it is certain that 1 would be asked by him. अब इससे आसान परीक्षा दुनिया में क्या हो सकता है बताइए? जिस परीक्षा का पहले से रिजल्ट, जिसका क्वेश्चन पहले से घोषित हो, और क्या चाहते हैं आप? इकोनॉमी में बदलाव हो सकता है, ज्योग्राफी में हो सकता है, लेकिन इसमें 4 ही है. अनलेस कोई नया नहीं जोड़ते हो तो फिर 5वां है ही नहीं. भाई ये मुगल आर्ट पूछ दो तो बात अलग है, लेकिन आज तक नहीं पूछा है. इतना जो है, हाँ, इतना जो है, सुन, इतना जो है, इतना मोटी उसका क्वेश्चन पेपर है, लेकिन आज तक आप देख लेंगे 200 पेज देख लेंगे, एक बार भी इन 4 के अलावे 5वां 6ठा नहीं पूछा है. तो आई थिंक इट इज रियली इजी, not only define your syllabus but also your question paper also. Total 20 to 25 questions you are supposed to have in your mind, and then go without fear and think about the other segment of GS, not about the history. 20 से 25 क्वेश्चन डाल लीजिए यहां पर, चले जाइए, फिर दूसरे विषय के बारे में सोचिए, इतिहास को भूल जाइए. राइट और रॉन्ग? एंड दिस इज ऑथेंटिक. Once you control this segment of history, I mean segment of GS, then you can easily just give the foundation of your success. Because out of 300, you get 140 number. 140 number. And once you have made a good practice, then out of 114, you can get not less than 70 to 75 marks. I think. Out of 114, if we have made a good practice of question paper, we can easily get what? 70 to 75 marks. And to obtain these marks is not an easy task. But once we get it, it means we have given the foundation of our success. फिर लाइए ना, दूसरा विषय भी तो है. भाई ये क्या करेगा, इसे जान थोड़े मारेंगे आप. भाई ये आपको इतना नंबर दे ही रहा है, आप चाहते हैं कि पूरा ले ले इसी से, तो और क्या करेगा? राइट और रॉन्ग? हाँ, इसलिए मैं नहीं कहता हूं, आई एम नॉट eulogising my subject because I'm history teacher of history. I say because in other subjects this is not possible. I can't say कि out of 114 number I can get in polity. I can't say. I can't say. Even I am Subhash Kashyap. But I can't say with conviction कि I can get these marks. Because questions are not defined. Questions are not defined. But here, syllabus question both are defined. पहले से मुझे पता यही आएगा, ये सिलेबस से बदलेगा नहीं, रट गए, आ गया, ठीक है. And now, along with writing, you have to use map. Suppose you are explaining about the Santhal revolt, just make a map of Bihar, display this, this is area of Santhal, okay, right? Use of diagram, okay, just to get extra number, okay. It means you have to make your answer different, not only by writing good answer, but also revealing something by the way of maps, diagrams, some quotations, some figures. Suppose you are writing about Ashoka pillar, just make like this. This is known as ST, shaft. Shaft. This is called capital. It could be well-shaped, bell-shaped, or it could be lotus-shaped. Lotus-shaped. Above this capital, this is abacus. Abacus. It could be circular, or it could be rectangular. Rectangular. And this is the figure of animals. Okay. And this is made of a single piece of a stone. That is also called monolithic. And this is without any platform. No platform. Like the Persian pillars. And this is just standing without any support of buildings like the Persian. These are not human figures, but animal figure, unlike the Persian. ऐसे बनाएंगे तो थोड़ा सा एक डिफरेंट होगा. अब इसके बारे में हम लिखेंगे भी, बना भी देंगे. समझ गए? Similarly, once we write about the stupas, this is called Medhi. Medhi means foundation, platform. This is Hermika. This is Yasti, shaft. And these are the three Chhatra. Chhatra means Lord Buddha, his monastery, and Dhamma. Okay. And this is boundary wall. That is known as Vedika. We have 4 entrances. That is known as exactly Toran Dwar. Okay, right. The most pure place is Hermika. It is known as the Garbhagriha of Hindu temple. Because here we find the relics of Lord Buddha. अब बना देंगे तो इससे नंबर मिलेगा आपको. Okay. So I should tell you कि you should not only write about the answer, but also support your answer by some facts, I mean some figures, some maps, some diagrams, okay, to get some extra marks. Only by writing, you can't get more than your expectation. Suppose if you are getting 20 numbers by writing only, you can easily get 5 numbers, I mean 25 numbers, by making a map. ध्यान दीजिएगा. तो इसको हम बताएंगे जब हम लोग इसके बारे में डिस्कशन और हम करेंगे तो डिटेल्स हम बताएंगे. ठीक है. तो ऑन मंडे, ओके, द फर्स्ट टॉपिक वुड बी द रिवोल्ट ऑफ 1857 and its impact in Bihar. And second would be the contribution of Babu Kunwar Singh. Because we have only 2 hours, and so it's not possible to take third topics, okay? Only we have to begin with 2 topics on Monday. If any doubts, if you have, you can share your doubts without any problems. ठीक है? क्या है? अच्छा, उधर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन वॉज टेकन बाय द ब्रिटिश क्राउन डायरेक्टली. अमरजीत, ब्रिटिश एक्सपेंशनिस्ट पॉलिसी वॉज विथड्रॉन. हाँ, वो तो कोई पूछा ही नहीं है, मतलब वो तो सारा का सारा उत्तर ही दिया है, आंसर दिया है. अच्छी बात है, वो तो बच्चा आंसर दिया है ना. ठीक है. थैंक यू बच्चों टू सपोर्टिंग मी. Mass participation, not locally organized, very good. अच्छा, अब देखिए उसमें लिखा है तारीख, कोई सर नोट्स लिखवा दीजिए. है ना. ठीक है सर. हाउ मच क्लास इट विल टेक टू कंप्लीट दिस सिलेबस? नाइस क्वेश्चन. आई कैन टेक nearly 25 hours to finish this class as it was given by management. Okay, ठीक है ना. 25 to 30 depends on your satisfaction. यदि आपको लगता है कि I should give you 2 hours more, no problem. But as a rule, I have to finish this syllabus, okay, within 25 to 30 hours, because the topics are not like such to give more and more time. आप देख लीजिए गिन करके जो है 5, 7, 10 टॉपिक है, कितना समय लगेगा, है ना. राइट. So let us meet once again on Monday. ठीक है ना. नो, देखिए हम पिछले भी साल जो है हमने लिया था, मतलब क्लास लिया था यहाँ का, वो बाइलिंगुअल क्लास था. लेकिन सर ने कहा कि इस बार दोनों को अलग कर दिया जाए, क्योंकि बहुत प्रॉब्लम होती थी. एक बोलता था हिंदी में बोलो, एक बोलता था इंग्लिश में बोलो. ठीक है ना. ठीक है. तो उसमें परेशानी होती थी. राइट. तो इस बार हुआ कि भाई दोनों को अलग अलग कर दिया जाए, ताकि या तो मैकाले रहेंगे या तो सत्यार्थ प्रकाश रहेगा. सत्यार्थ प्रकाश जानते हैं कौन है? किसका है? स्वामी दयानंद. दोनों ही रहेगा. या तो मैकाले रहेंगे, राजा राम मोहन राय, who believes that only by English education we can bring India on the path of progress and modernization. लेकिन सत्यार्थ प्रकाश कहता था no, India is to be made by India itself. By Veda, India was to be created rather than the Western civilization. तो दोनों को अलग करने से थोड़ा फायदा होगा कि भाई या तो राजा राम मोहन राय या तो सत्यार्थ प्रकाश रहेगा. ठीक है. लेकिन बिहार में थोड़ा बहुत तो भाई थोड़ा सा उससे करना पड़ेगा नाता, है ना. है कि नहीं? राइट. क्योंकि यहां पर मूल जो फोकस है वो ये है कि योर आइडिया शुड बी ट्रांसपेरेंट. ओके. लैंग्वेज is really a means of communication, dissemination, but it should be like this to clarify the whole confusion 100% about every topic which any teacher take in the class. Okay. So my whole lecture would be solely in English. Okay. both in, I mean, discussion, lecture as well as writing. Okay. और कहीं कहीं जो है हमको इच्छा करेगा है ना कि थोड़ा सा भाई हम बोल ले, तो हमारा लिबर्टी है, एंड दैट इज इनफॉर्मल लिबर्टी, नॉट फॉर्मल लिबर्टी. ध्यान दीजिए, वो फॉर्मल नहीं है, इनफॉर्मल है. मेरा इच्छा ही कर दिया कि थोड़ा हम बात कर लेते हैं, और क्या हाल है, ठीक है, वो इनफॉर्मल होगा, फॉर्मल नहीं होगा. कुंवर सिंह अंग्रेजी में ध्यान रखना. ठीक है ना. चलिए हम लोग मिलते हैं फिर. ठीक है.